welcome guests. Welcome to my review for American Horror Story Hotel, also known as Season 5, Episode 11 called Battle Royale. My books, they're all back there still having a good time. I'm just going to leave them for right now, okay? All right, guys, this was a great episode. Spoiler warning to those of you out there, though, who do not want to be spoiled on this episode. Which, this was another episode where it wasn't wow, wow, wow. You know, after every commercial break, this was another one of those episodes where you had to listen. You had to watch the episodes and catch certain things. So as long as you listened and you paid attention, you were good to go. But it was a great episode. I'm definitely giving this one a 2 thumbs up as well. This episode was written by Ned Martell, and it was directed by Michael Uppendahl. All right. Now, the show opens with a badass scene between Liz and Iris. It's talking about how it leads up to them going to the Countess to shoot her. Now, the Countess, we get to see from their point of view what happens after they start shooting. And the Countess basically is shot, but Donovan kind of throws himself in front of her and throws her down to save her, and it works. She gets away, and Donovan is shot. Now, Iris tells Liz to stop shooting, but it's pretty much too late. Donovan is dying. And she tells him, I'm sorry. Why were you here with her? I'm sorry. She did not mean to shoot her own son. And at that point, when you can see Iris's point of view, she can't see Donovan. He's wearing the black sweater and he's facing away from her. So she can only see his back and doesn't know that that's her son. But when Donovan, after he's been shot, he begs Liz and Iris to take him out of the hotel. And she says, no, we're going to get you a doctor. We're going to save you. But he tells his mom, no. I don't want to be a ghost in this hotel with all of her freaking lovers. Get me out of here. And so Liz and Iris comply, and they take Donovan out of the hotel where he dies in the road on the street. And that's the end of Donovan. But kudos to him. He was a great character. He was a great actor. Such a great bod. Anyway, so that's how the show opens. Now, when we come back, we're always wondering what happened to the Countess, as well as Liz and Iris. They are assuming that she crawled off somewhere and died, hopefully. I don't understand why they didn't get the brilliant notion to follow the Countess's blood trail. Because literally, the Countess crawled away and left this very nasty blood trail behind. I just don't understand why you just couldn't grab a flashlight and follow it. You'd know then if she was dead or alive, Liz. Come on. Gotta start using your noggin sometimes. But we see that the Countess is in the basement of the hotel, and she is with Sally. Sally basically saves her life. And it's really funny. I mean, it's not really funny that the Countess is in pain or anything like that. But it's funny that Sally is sewing up the Countess after she takes out all of the bullets that are inside of the Countess. And while Sally is sewing her up, she's got a cigarette in her mouth. She's smoking during the whole surgical procedure. I just found that as pretty funny. Sally is obviously not a sanitary surgeon. But while Sally is doing this, she tells the Countess a tale of back in Los Angeles, 1993. And we get the tale of Sally when she was actually, when she wrote music. She wrote music for this guy and this girl. And long story short, they have a 3-way together at the Hotel Cortez. And they're all so high on heroin, I guess, that Sally just has this crazy notion. And while they're having this... Excuse me. Just in case, you might want to turn this down a notch if you're listening to this somewhere at work or possibly put in your earbuds. But while they're having this three-way, Sally starts stitching them together with needle and thread, and they're all alive and awake, and she starts stitching literally their skin together so they'll never be apart again. And she keeps telling them, tell me you love me, tell me you love me. And unfortunately, the two people, the guy and the girl that she's with, die of an overdose, I guess. They died during the whole thing. I assume they could have died during the surgical stitching procedure. We just really aren't given a clear indication at this point. I'm pretty positive, though, it's an OD. But Sally is stitched together with these two dead people, and she's freaking out because she's lost two people that she loved, and she's stitched to two dead bodies when the little demon shows up with the metal little vibrator thing. And he tortures Sally for a couple of days, but then she finally gets the strength to release herself from the two bodies. It was a gross, awesome scene. I don't think I'm going to want to watch that scene again, and I'm glad nobody was around me to hear me watch it, but it was a pretty great, creepy, crazy little scene. So after Sally frees herself, we come back to her telling the Countess about the story, and the Countess tells her, well, obviously now we see where your abandonment issues come from. So Sally basically tells the Countess that, look, she saved her for a reason. She saved her because she needs her help. Sally wants the Countess to bring John back to the hotel and kill him, so Sally can be with John forever in the hotel in ghost spirit form. So the big problem, though, is that the Countess is not getting any better. After Sally removes the bullets and stitches her up, the Countess tells her that she needs blood from her own kind. And she says, bring me Donovan. Yeah, I just need a little sip of his blood. And that's when Sally tells the Countess that Donovan is dead. And you can see that it severely impacts her. She feels deeply saddened by that. And that's a little moment that you can see that she really did feel something for Donovan. She lost Valentino, then she got Donovan in some weird way, and then, they both die in the same day. That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, she's had a pretty crappy day so far. I guess I kind of understand her anger at this point. But when she finds out that Donovan is dead, she says, okay, well, then I guess there's no reason for me to live. I don't have, blood from anybody. I thought Sally was going to go get Ramona, but she didn't. She went and got the last two of the Countess's little village of the damned children. And when the Countess saw them, she was like, no, if I drink from them, it will kill them. I don't want to kill my kids. And Sally tells the Countess that she has no other option, basically. She's either die, or live. But she tells the Countess that if she dies, the children will essentially die. Who's going to take care of them? And besides, Liz and Iris will probably find them and kill them too, which is a pretty accurate assumption. Sally was pretty accurate in telling the Countess that. So the Countess reluctantly is still telling the kids, I don't want to do this. But it's actually kind of sweet. They say, let us help you, Mommy. And they all crawl in together. And it's a really sad scene where Sally sticks the kids with a needle to draw out their blood. And when we come back to that scene, the two little kids are white, laying on a bed. And obviously we know that we've gotten the impression that they've passed, and obviously they have. And the Countess has drinking an entire, science beaker full of blood. And she looks like she's drunk on kid blood at that moment. And Sally's like, you doing all right? And the Countess tells her to leave her alone. Wisely, Sally does. So at this point, this is where we lose the Countess for a little bit. Now, this was a great scene, guys, what I'm about to describe right here. If you have not watched the show, you do need to go back, check your cable provider. It's more than likely that they will have this episode on demand for you after midnight tonight. But you need to watch this episode because now, Iris and Liz release Ramona. Because at that point, when they assume that the Countess isn't dead, they know that they need some pretty heavy firepower and somebody else who wants the Countess dead to join them in their crusade. However, Iris doesn't really want to let Ramona out because she's the one who kind of put Ramona in there in the first place, or at least helped. And she feels that Ramona is going to be upset with her once she sees Iris, which is a good assumption, a very good assumption. So when they open the door, Iris and Liz, there's dead kids everywhere in this hallway where, remember, all those kids have been locked in. I mean, their little dead corpses are everywhere. Liz and Iris see Will Drake, and they see the cage where Ramona had been kept, and they see that it's empty. And it is freaking hilarious. Liz's eyes go hugely wide, and she screams to Iris to run. So of course they do. They turn around and they run, and they try to leave, I guess, the village of the damned hallway, so to speak now, and get out before Ramona catches them, but Ramona walks right in front of them and cuts them off before they can leave. And Ramona is pissed as hell, as you can obviously tell, and she's ready to eat the hell out of some Iris. But Liz does convince her not to. And Ramona basically tells Liz, look, I have to eat. I need to take a life to get my life back. And, Liz tells her, okay, we can help you with that. But just don't kill us. We want you to help us kill the Countess. We want you to come together with us. And Ramona wants to, like I said, eat the heck out of some Iris. But Iris wants to give her a substitute instead of herself. So Ramona, being the, I guess, sensible vampire that she is, she gives Iris and Liz a second chance and tells them, fine, go get me somebody to eat. And they do. They go downstairs, and there is Gabrielle Sunabay in the lobby of the Hotel Cortez ready to check in. Now, when she does check in, she gives that her name is Queenie, which, of course, I was caught by. That's her name in Coven. Now, Queenie tells Iris and Liz that she's there because she's a guest on The Price is Right, and she is going to win because her Supreme enchanted her ticket, if you know what she meant. And Liz recognized her as one of the witches that were on television. Remember, after the new Supreme, who was Sarah Paulson, went on and told everybody in the news about them. So Liz recognized her from that news broadcast, gave her a big hug, and certainly had no problem sacrificing her to Ramona. They take her upstairs to a hotel room. Queenie senses that something is off about it, doesn't really want to stay there, and Liz and Iris convince her, we'll get you another room, but you can just freshen up here until the room is ready. Queenie agrees, goes to freshen up. Ramona surprises her because she's in the shower. And it's a hilarious fight because Angela Bassett, Ramona realizes that Queenie is a witch and that she's a voodoo doll, basically. So when Ramona goes to cut Queenie, she ends up cutting herself. And she's shocked that she ends up with the damage rather than Queenie. So it's hilarious. Queenie is telling her that Ramona doesn't know who she's messing with. And one of the one-liner awards of this episode goes to Queenie when she says, "It's my vacation, bitch." She says that to Ramona when Ramona's trying to kill her. But it's not working. Queenie obviously has the upper hand. She is about to kill Ramona, but James March saves Ramona and kills Queenie. And then Ramona feeds off of Queenie's blood. So our beloved Queenie is now dead and a ghost of the Hotel Cortez. I know. Shocking. I'm a little pissed. But if she had to go out, I mean, that was a pretty great scene to go out. I did enjoy that scene. It was pretty hilarious, actually. But James March basically tells Ramona that he saved her because he wants Ramona to kill the Countess. So the Countess's soul, her ghost, can be trapped inside the Hotel Cortez with him for eternity. And Ramona obviously has no choice but to agree. So Ramona goes up to meet the Countess. Now, this is after Ramona has drank Queenie up. She's full of witch blood. She changes her clothes. She meets with Liz and Iris for a second. And Ramona goes to the Countess. And the Countess recognizes that, obviously, Ramona, it looks beautiful. And she tells her, you look so different. What have you been eating? And another one-liner award. I had to give a second one out, an unprecedented second one-liner award out. This goes to Ramona when she tells the Countess in response, "I just had me a witch." That was great. So the Countess tries to apologize to Ramona for everything she did to her. And Ramona is kind of teetering on whether or not to forgive her or kill her. So the Countess offers Ramona the hotel. She tells Ramona that she doesn't want to be there anymore. She just wants to leave. And if Ramona would just let her leave, Ramona can have the hotel and the Countess will never come back. And I gotta say, I loved it when the Countess told Ramona, if she was, kill me, but screw me first. Kill me, but screw me first. And, so Ramona screwed her first and let her go. Score, Ramona! So the Countess, it calls the elevator. She's all dressed up in like a beautiful, almost a 30s fashion with luggage. She calls the elevator doors open, and Detective John Lowe is standing right there. Now, I'm going to cut away really quickly because you're going to ask, where's John been this whole time? So Scarlett, his little girl, knows the deal with Holden and Alex because we get a little clip of Alex and John, Scarlett and Holden going home to their house, and Scarlett confronts Alex about needing blood. And so they don't really have the discussion with her about mommy and brother are a vampire. They just tell her that they need to take their medicine and they'll be fine, but they can't tell anybody about Holden. He's got to be a secret. Okay, so John goes out to get some fast food for his family. He comes back with a body in his trunk, and the person is alive, so that way Alex and Holden can drink from this guy. That's why I call him fast food. He was just a fast go out and grab for them to eat. John comes to bring the guy home, and nobody's home. His whole entire family's gone. But hanging from one of the chandeliers is a key to the Hotel Cortez. So our fearless detective / 10 Commandments killer, Detective John Lowe, goes to the Hotel Cortez. Now, when he gets there, he goes to the room, I guess, that he's supposed to, and he sees Sally. And she tells John that she didn't take his family. She can't. She's a ghost in the hotel. And she basically he leads to believe that James March somehow took them. And Sally tells John that he has to complete the 10 Commandments killing before March will give him his family back. So John needs to find a murderer. That's the last commandment killing that he has to go through. He has to kill a murderer. So hence now where John meets the Countess. The elevator doors open, and I was so scared that John was going to kill himself because, in essence, he is a murderer. So I thought if he killed himself, he would be fulfilling the 10 Commandments killings. But that's not what happens. Those elevator doors open, and John just unloads a clip on the Countess. I mean, he just shoots her dead. And she lies there in the hotel, and that poor woman who fought so freaking hard to get out of that damned hotel is dead. And she doesn't even get to be dead with Donovan or Valentino for the rest of her life. I think that's what really sucks for her, is that she's stuck with James March and Will Drake. I mean, Will Drake is pretty hot, so is James March, but I mean, she really loved either Donovan, especially Valentino, and she doesn't get to be stuck into forever with them. I mean, that sucks. That sucks for the Countess. I feel, a little bad for her for a few seconds. Okay, so John takes the Countess's head, puts it in a little glass display case because, of course, that's what you want to do with the person who you kill. You got to put their head on display. And he puts it in his trophy room, his killing trophy room. Little nice irony, I think, there. And Sally, right after John does that, Sally, John, and James March are all standing in the trophy room. And Sally immediately tries to kill John, but James March won't let her. He tells Sally that he needs John for an even bigger plan. And John tells James March, no more plans. I want to see my family right now. So, that's where it kind of leaves it with John and his family. I don't know if he gets to see them or what happens with them, because the next scene goes to James March, and man, that guy sure does love his lady. That guy sure does love the Countess. Now that she's dead and stuck with them in the hotel forever, he had Miss Evers, of course, prepare them a lovely meal. And when she what Miss Evers made for dinner was not good enough for his princess. And when she rang the doorbell to his suite, Miss Evers was going to get it, but James pushes Miss Evers out of the way so he can go answer the door himself. I mean, that man loves his wife. I just thought that was kind of funny, cute little touches that they put on there in order to further show us how much John loves his lady. So the Countess comes for dinner, and James March makes a comment that he forgives her, the Countess, for turning him into the police for being the original Ten Commandment killer. And she tells him, I didn't turn you in. And after a small discussion, he actually believes her, and he's like, well, then if you didn't turn me in, who was it? And that's when Miss Evers confesses that it was her who turned James March into the police for being the killer the first time. And she said that she did it because she knew that James March would never let the cops take him alive. He'd kill himself, and they would be stuck in the hotel together forever. And he wouldn't be with the Countess, he would be with her, with Miss Evers. And James March is quiet for a while, and she begs him to say something to her, just say something to her. And when he does, he banishes Miss Evers from his presence. And she just kind of shakes it off, takes off her, the little white apron that she always wears. And she tells him, okay, that's fine. I'll be okay. I'll move on. I'll find a purpose. And I think that was pretty indicative of how how we all should act when a relationship is over. When it's over, just say, okay, that's fine. And just move on. Be okay with it. That is the way a relationship should be ended. Miss Evers should have just said, boom, baby, after she left that, when she did her exit scene. That was just great. That was a really great scene. So now March has the Countess forever with himself in the hotel. So he got what he wanted, basically, in the long run. Now, a few little notes I wanted to make about the episode. First off, it was a great setup to the season finale. Everyone is drawn back to the hotel. So you kind of wonder what's going to happen with John. Is he going to be a ghost? Is Sally going to get what she wants? What's going to happen with that? Is Alex going to be forced to return Holden? I mean, now that the Countess is dead, does she have to? What's up with that? So I think the best scenes of this episode are with Liz and Iris. They are a great duo. And I saw that American Horror Story Hotel has 2 Golden Globe nominations. So I give Dennis O'Hare and Kathy Bates the Mary Award for Best Duo for their portrayal, as Liz and Iris on American Horror Story Hotel. I think they were fantastic this season so far, and I hope we're not done with them yet. The preview for the season finale wasn't very clear. You couldn't really get a good understanding of what possibly could happen, but I do hope we get to see a good ending to these two. Now, Ramona finally got a freaking great show. I mean, obviously her scenes before in the show were pretty good, but this episode was her time to shine. I think this episode was hers. It belonged to her. It was Lady Gaga, or excuse me, it was the Countess's death, Lady Gaga's. But Ramona's character was the one that shined in this episode. So that is my thoughts for this. That is my review, actually, for this episode of American Horror Story Hotel, episode 11, Battle Royale, which I would say has certainly ended up kind of being that way. Did you think it was a great episode? And what did you think of my review? If you want to support my channel, don't forget to hit the like button. If you want to see more of what I have and the postings whenever they come out, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all very much for watching, and I am very excited for the season finale. I'm very sad to see the season end this quickly, but it has been, I think, a fantastic season so far. I'm not disappointed at all. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts, guys. Hope you had a happy new year, and it's great to see American Horror Story back.